Before we look at the future, let's take a step back. For some, it will be a short step, others a longer one. Think back to your first job, your first office job. What was your first day like? Was it exciting? Hopefully it was inspiring, not filled with too many inductions, coffees. You might have even got a free lunch. Now think about a month or a year later. Once the newness wore off, you suddenly realised that your office wasn't the shiny palace of innovation you thought it was. Rather, it probably looked more like this. A little bit later, you reach a new low point. You're feeling lonely, you're uninspired, you're shut out. You reluctantly resolve to schoolyard bribery, and you put a sign on the outside of your cubicle to attract some attention. Now, think about your office today. Being in a room filled with tech, marketing and business leaders, there's a good chance that things have changed. The accountants in the room, you guys wouldn't get this. Some of you may have heard of the workplace design principles that are current in the market. There's all the rage amongst the design world, and there's a good reason for it. Often called activity-based working, or shortened to ABW, sometimes called agile working. The easiest way to explain it is this. Think about your house or your apartment. Each room or zone supports a different activity and provides a different function. Your bedroom, somewhere to sleep and rest. Your kitchen, somewhere to prepare food and entertain. And then the bathroom, somewhere to wash. You'd never consider conducting all these activities from one location. Why? It would be uncomfortable, unproductive, as well as a little bit unhygienic. So think about your working day. All the different tasks and activities, meetings you engage in, and all the different outputs that you're required to produce. Well, the same applies here. Conducting all of this from a single office desk simply does not work. So today, let's cover off three fundamentals of what we do, how we do it, and where we do it. Firstly, the what. As you've heard already today, when we stop and reflect, it's easy to realise that the work we're doing has dramatically changed over the past 10, 5, and even 2 years. The World Economic Forum reported that the most in-demand jobs today did not exist 5 years ago, and that 50% of kids in primary school will ultimately work in jobs that don't currently exist. So why is this? Jobs that rely on efficiency and repetition, such as the dwindling Australian manufacturing industry, are being lost to robot or tech-led operations that are quicker and cheaper to run. In their place, jobs that champion creativity and strategic thinking are booming. No longer are we committing to a lifetime career or working for the man for 30 or 40 years. Rather, society is being driven forward by a new wave of master craftsmen, craftsmen, craftswomen. This has led to a growing landscape of niche specialists, digital experts, entrepreneurs and consultants. Even last month, a major job site in Australia listed a potential growth of nearly 20% in casual and contract employment. This has also allowed for a new wave of jobs to be created. Jobs like chief experience officers, diversity managers, influencers, as well as new marketplaces where jobs can be shared, work can be transacted, that are changing the landscape for corporations and entrepreneurs alike. So with this new wave of decentralised workers, when we look at how work is done, the question needs to be asked, do we even still need an office? If you're like me, the answer is an unquestionable yes. I tried working from home and it was a disaster. I'd go to the fridge every 15 minutes, only to get disappointed when nothing new had reappeared in my fridge 15 minutes later. But just as we're seeing the transformation of civil centres and libraries, so too the purpose of the office must change. As technology continues to infuse further into our lives, workplaces that encourage creativity and strategic thinking understand the idea and the necessity to design considered and social-led spaces. Already we have seen a shift in design approach, including bright, colourful and playful spaces that take their cues from kindergartens to encourage and nourish creativity. Soft, subtle and luxurious spaces mimicking the residential market that allows you to relax and spend longer time in the office. And amenities galore. Attending to an office where as if you've got a personal concierge at the fanciest hotel, allowing you to focus more on the work you do rather than life admin. The modern office will need to focus more on connections and community and spaces for idea sharing, something that's difficult to replicate over email, video, and definitely cannot be achieved while working alone from home with an empty fridge. So the humble office desk will soon no longer be the primary fixture, with offices of the future offering less and less desk space. But in their place, zones to compensate, a variety of meeting rooms, breakout lounges, phone booths, and of course, the cliched ping pong table is surely here to stay. So what does this mean for the where? How will these buildings differ from today? What will they look like? What if the air conditioning could actually work? That'd be a good start. So sweat no more, because in Europe, engineers have already started testing systems that can collect stored rainwater, collect harvested rainwater and store them in subterranean tanks 100 metres below the surface, using the natural variances to keep a constant temperature inside. Or imagine a building that could breathe by itself, where it could exhale stale air through an internal atrium and then suck in new air, promoting a cleaner environment to work with greater productivity. Or how about a building that promotes a net zero energy status, whereby through solar and wind turbines on its roof, can produce more renewable energy than its occupants can consume. Furthermore, buildings of the future will become smart buildings and data collecting machines. The Edge in Amsterdam is a really good example of this, where the regular ceiling grid has been replaced with LEDs and high-tech sensors that measure everything from temperature to airflow, lighting controls, as well as who is where. When this is partnered with an app, it gives the option for staff to locate colleagues, order food and drink and refreshments to their desks, book workspaces, as well as control their immediate environment, the temperature, the lighting, and even the music of their choice. And why not? In an environment where everything that's mass-produced can be personalised, why shouldn't your physical space be the same? This all sounds cool, but Bill Gates did this to his own house nearly 20 years ago, so it's hardly revolutionary. What if this building system was then integrated with Siri or Alexa or Cortana or their successors, thereby having access to your calendar and your contacts? Then it would have the ability to provide booking suggestions for meeting rooms and workspaces that match your calendar day as well as your colleagues' preferences too. Now we're getting somewhere and talking about AI and smart buildings. Now imagine this building over time learns your preferences, decides or records who you meet with, what your preferred meeting style is, and what your ideal working temperature is. Or if we took it a step further, and once the building actually understands how you like to work and where you work, it could provide suggestions for your optimal environment. So if you like a slightly cooler workspace, you may find in the morning it's booked a workstation for you on the western side of the building, and in the afternoon it's booked a meeting room for you on the east. Now we're beginning to talk valuable tech integration. But if we're thinking about the future, the idea of an app on your phone is a little bit clunky and outdated. What happens if you forget your phone at home? You can't get in. You're lost. Even today, if I forget my phone at home, I'm lost. I walk around feeling naked and stressed out. I'll have nothing to do while I walk 2 minutes to go get my coffee. Surely there must be a smarter way. What if we implant a microchip under our skin? Something about the size of a grain of rice could be put right here, in the squishy middle part between your thumb and your finger. In turn, this could replace our keys, our swipe card, and maybe even our license. Is talking about implanting technology taking it too far? Is this uncomfortable? Well, a building in Sweden called the Epicenter has started doing this to over 2,000 staff. While half the room are geeking out about the infinite possibilities this could have, no more being locked out of buildings, no more sleeping in the gutter, the other part are probably freaking out, as this could be a Big Brother on steroids nightmare. And I don't blame you. Not a year goes past where a major social network platform is forced to disclose a breach due to its systems. So, what will the future of workplaces look like? How will the what, how, and where affect your world? I think reports of the death of the office are greatly exaggerated. Yet you cannot deny the impact that increased globalization and digital technologies has played on the way we carry out work and the way that we live our lives. Yet the need for employees to come together in a single physical location, enabling the kind of productive and relationship sharing exchange that only analog FaceTime can actually promote, has never been greater. History has shown that as a society we have a strong cyclical pattern. And I think as technology further integrates with our lives, conducting more menial and repetitive tasks on our behalf, I believe we'll dedicate more time to personal and interpersonal connections, enabling us to live a faster pace, more creative, and more purpose-driven existence. Thank you.